5 surefire, set it and forget it ways to sell more homes in the next 90 days. I'm going to be a little bit more stern than maybe I sometimes am. If you're not doing and don't embrace, I'm not saying you got to do all 5, but if you're not doing the things on this list, you really should look in the mirror because you're not treating your business like a business. I'm just being honest. And that's okay. Sometimes a reality check is important. But if you're not willing to implement these 5, and again, I'm not saying like you absolutely have to do all 5 of these things, okay? It's not exactly what I'm saying. But if there is something about what I'm going to share here that you don't feel like you can implement, then you probably need to increase your competence so you can have the confidence to then implement this. Right? Because there's something about your belief either in yourself and your abilities or in this industry that is keeping you from doing things that I'm telling you, I can guarantee if you do these things, you will have more opportunities to sell homes than if you don't. That is my guarantee. Can I guarantee that you'll actually sell more homes? No, because I don't know what your sales skills are or your experiences. But I can guarantee if you do these 5 things, you'll have more chances to sell homes. How's that? So I have a Google Doc. It will evolve. In other words, I'm going to improve it later today. Quite honestly, I had blocked out a certain amount of time to work on it this morning, and that time kept shrinking as I had to knock out certain things. I had to get a couple of transactions uploaded. I had to write out and schedule my email blast, my deal of the week email blast that's going out tomorrow morning. And then my phone was ringing. All good stuff. It's just that please excuse the version 1 of the document I'm going to share. The 5 things on there are relevant. The examples and so forth, I will add more to the document as we go. If you're live in the Zoom room, I'm going to drop a link to the document first and foremost. If you're watching this after the fact or you're elsewhere, just drop a comment and I will get you a copy of the document there. One last thing before I start sharing my screen and go through these 5 strategies. Some of these are things that I've talked about recently, right? So I'm double tapping on some things because either I have more clarity or more feedback or more data, proof that it's working, or did I say and or? I don't even remember now. But I'm double tapping on them because they're important, right? And sometimes we need to be. I love Alex Hormozy. I talk about him a lot. One of my favorite things that I hear him say is people need to be reminded more than they're taught. People need to be reminded more than they're taught. And that goes from what we're doing here, which is me trying to give back to other realtors in the community. But it also goes absolutely like 1,000% when you're talking to or following up with your consumers. If you think because you said this one thing this one time to this one person that they just remember it forever, you are grossly mistaken, right? You have to remind people constantly. And honestly, a lot of the things on this list is reminding people constantly, hey, I'm still here. I'm still helping people buy and sell houses. Anyway, sorry, I forgot to edit the sharing on that. 1 second here. Thank you for whoever dropped that. Let me share that link again. I didn't have the sharing open correctly. Now, the doc should open for everyone, and you can follow along as I share these 5 strategies. So, number 1, this is something that has evolved for me, even in just the last week. But backstory. When I reactivated my license in 2012, end of 2019, early 2020, one of the things that I implemented was, or one of the things that I did was I built my list of my Dean Jackson calls it like a top 150 list, but the list of all the people in your market who you've either done business with before or are your sphere of influence, people that if you saw them at the grocery store, you saw them at the local sporting event, there'd at least be some exchange of pleasantries, right? And also, I'll say, and if they reached out to you wanting help with buying or selling real estate, you would be excited and not dreading that, right? You don't have to put someone on there. You get to choose who's on your list, right? If there's somebody that you exchange pleasantries with, would be just a complete POA if they were your client, don't put them on the list, right? You get to pick your list. Anyway, back then, I built out that list, and I was sending something. I was sending what Dean Jackson has a postcard template that he calls the most interesting postcard in the world, or something like that. The world's most interesting postcard. That's what he calls it. And I sent that for probably a couple of years, at least probably 2.5 years. And for whatever reason, I don't know, I stopped sending it. And then I got to sporadically sending this, that, or the other thing to this particular list. And then James, a couple of weeks ago, reached out. James in my EXP organization reached out and basically asked, hey, what should I send these people? I have a list at the time. James's list was 70 people. I have this list of people that are sphere of influence past clients. I don't know what to send them. And last week or 2 weeks ago, I got on and I shared some ideas with James. And since that time, I have even more clarity, and I want to share with you exactly what I have implemented and how it is done in a way that is literally set it and forget it. Now, I may check in on it every once in a while. I can tweak it every once in a while. But the bulk of the work is done up front, okay? With a lot of what I'm sharing here, the bulk of the work is done up front. And then it's still just like anything, right? You got to maintain it a little bit here or there. Just like when people talk about completely passive income, let's face it, and there's literally nothing that's completely passive. You got to still check in and maintain things every so often. So here's what I'm doing. I'm going to show you exactly what this looks like. And then I will tell you all that I can't say this strongly enough. If you're serious about this business, even if you're not doing exactly what I'm sharing here, you have to do this. You have to do this. You need to have your sphere of influence and past clients receiving mail in their mailbox from you, reminding you, I'm still out here doing it. Because one of the worst feelings in the world, and any of you in here who have been doing this for any length of time have had this happen, is you drive by a house, that person would have been on your top 150 list, and there's a for sale sign, and it ain't yours, okay? And all it would have taken is just for you to stay in touch with them, okay? So I'm going to show you exactly what I'm doing. Do you have to do exactly what I'm doing? No, but I'm telling you, this is super easy. Set it and forget it, and it's really good. So I'm going to share the example in a minute. If you're interested for yourself, here are the steps that you would need to do. Number one, you either need to build your list if you've never done it, or you need to clean and update your mailing list. Again, these are your sphere of influence, your past clients, top 150. Okay. And here's the part of this that is not necessarily completely set it and forget it. You might send a reminder monthly and think about and look at, is there anybody I should delete from the list? And is there anyone I should add to the list? Because we're always meeting new people. For example, for myself, most of you know this, but I have 4 kids. My oldest he just started at the University of Louisville this summer. He's coming home Friday for a week before he goes back for the fall. We're excited to see him. He's doing great, for those of you wondering. Anyway, I have 3 more, and they all play sports as well. And I interact with all of those parents. And sometimes those parents change. In other words, they change team. Or, for example, Sammy, one of my daughters, she'll be playing field hockey this fall for her middle school. Last year, she was a 7th grader, and she was playing with it was 7th and 8th grade, right? So there were 8th grade parents. This year, there will be 7th grade parents because she's now in 8th grade. I might meet somebody new, and we may have a great conversation. I may want to add that person to my top 150 list, okay? So just be, aware of that. Once a month, who do I need to remove? Who do I want to add? Okay? You may remove them because, I don't know, you saw something on Facebook and you're like, would I really want to work with this person? If they're sharing that meme, are we going to jive? Who knows? Whatever. Just be aware, okay? In my case, and if you follow my recommended protocol, first of all, you need to create your account with thanks.io. And I'm going to recommend that you go and do that at growwithjosh.com/thanks. I'm dropping that in the chat. growwithjosh.com/thanks. And you know what? I meant to do this. I was in a hurry. I meant to do this earlier. Very transparently, if you sign up through them, they give me a little affiliate revenue. It helps pay for my kids' college, right? It's a little kickback. You still get the same deal, and in many cases, a better deal or more resources, etc. And they hook me up because I love them, and we do things and talk about them on things like this. Okay. So you go sign up there. If you're going to implement this strategy, you definitely want the business account. It's $49 a month. You definitely want the business account if you're going to do this. When you do this strategy, okay? You want the business account because I think it's 75 or 100 pieces that you send out. You actually save money if you sign up. It's $49 a month. It's well worth it. Okay? And by the way, if you want help with this, if you do this part, if you do A, we will help you do the rest. Literally, all you have to do is A. I've got my list, and you want help with this, we'll do the rest, as long as you're agreeing to sending on a regular basis. And the frequency you can choose, and I'll show you what I mean in a minute. I'm sending a monthly newsletter in their mailbox. You could send it quarterly. You could send it every 60 days. You could send it every 45 days. You could send it twice a year. It's totally up to you. My recommendation is, or here's why I'm doing 12 times a year. It's about $1 per send. So if I have, for every one person, that's $12 spread out over a year's time. 200, which for most of you, that should be the max number on this list. For most of you, 200, okay? There's going to be exceptions. Some of you have sold lots and lots of houses over the years, okay? And in that case, you may want to send to all of them, but on a different frequency, right? Maybe you have 500 past clients, something crazy, right? So I'm saying for most of you, this list is going to be no more than 200 people. So 200 times 12 is $2,400. I am willing to stake the claim here that if you do that for a year, it would almost be impossible for that not to turn into at least one transaction. Can I guarantee it? No, I can't. But I'm telling you, like, I have past experience by sending direct mail consistently to this audience that it works. It creates conversations. And this new variation of it, I can't see it not working even better. So here's what it looks like. Here's the mail that I'm sending. I think the second or third batch of mine just went out this morning. And the front of the postcard is their property. And it's the street view if they have it, but if there's no street view, it's the map view. Either way, it's their property. It's from Google, okay, if you're wondering. It's Google Street View, Google Map View. Monthly market update for Blair Young. Monthly market update for James Brown. Monthly market update for Josh and Pam Shanley. I'll show you another example. I sent one to myself. I didn't think of this soon enough to actually have a physical example of it for you, but this is a 6x9 postcard. Monthly market update for Blair Young. Scan the QR code to see what street address might sell for today. Now, here's the beautiful thing about the way this is set up. I can change this on the fly. I can change what this text is anytime I want. And literally then the next batch, the next morning that goes out, will have different verbiage. When they scan that QR code, they are taken to their personal interactive seller dashboard with iList. My enterprise version of iList is fastcashoffers.ai. You can get a free trial at growwithjosh.com/iList. growwithjosh.com/iList. I'll drop that in the chat. Now, what if you don't want to have that expense? Get creative. You could do whatever you want, okay? You might have some other service that you're using, or you may have some other tool with your website platform, or you could literally just send them to your contact page. For example, if you go to joshvips.com, you could send them to a page like this. And then, because if you're using Thanks the way I am, when they scan the QR code, you get an email and a text in real time. You could set up an automatic reply that says, hey, I saw your request for an updated home value for blank address. I'll get that to you as soon as possible. And then you just manually send them what it is, right? I like the interactive dashboard because it's delivering something in real time that's useful and valuable, but don't let that part stop you from implementing. Instead of finding the reason why you can't do it or why it won't work or why you won't do it, find reasons how you can and why you should and why it'll work. Fernando, go ahead.
What is the enterprise version of iList?
Oh, it's just my version. It's just my custom version. It's like my white label version of it.
Got it. Okay.
Yep. I have special pricing. I offer a longer free trial window, and I do some special things in particular for people that are part of my XP organization. So if you go directly to iList and sign up, you're going to pay a lot more, have a shorter free trial window, etc. So I've set mine up in a way that is, I make a couple of bucks on it, quite honestly, but I'm trying to save folks. I'm trying to save folks as much as they can. So the free trial, it's a 30-day free trial, and then it's $77 a month after that, unless you want to talk about joining our EXP org, and then we can get you a better deal on that. So that's the front of the postcard. The back. Here's where the magic is. And I'm not embellishing. This is magic. The back of this card is specific to the recipient, meaning what it spits out is custom based upon their address. So there's an investing tip, a local event, and a basic sort of market update, and it's custom to their property. And then the PS, we're pointing them back to scan once again. Okay, we're pointing them back to scan once again. And that will update. Notice it says August newsletter. It says have an awesome August, etc. And then once it gets closer to September, meaning the postcard will be received by the person getting the postcard, it will flip to September, okay? Set it and forget it. Set it and forget it. And once again, if you want to implement this, all you need to do is either build, clean, or update your mailing list. Reach out to me, and I'll get you connected. We'll either do it, you and I, on a Zoom, or I'll loop in somebody on the thanks team to help with that. Any questions about number one before I move to number two? All right, rock and roll. Either I did a great job or you all think I'm crazy.
So Josh, is that
Kathleen.
template inside Thanks.io?
So these are the share codes for the template. So
Oh,
you already have an account.
Uh-huh.
These share codes will populate them right into your thanks.
And do we have a link to that?
They're right in the document here, Kathy.
Yeah, I know. Do we have a link to the document?
Oh, yeah. You know what? Zoom does this weird thing where if I shared it before you were in the Zoom room, you can't see it. I don't know why that is. I just dropped the document again for everybody.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, it's not your fault. I don't know why Zoom does it that way. I don't know. It's just a bizarre thing. Anyway, there it is for you. And if you're watching this after the fact and you don't have a link to the document, drop a comment, DM me, whatever. Any other questions about that before we go to numero 20?
Hey,
Okay,
Josh,
number.
hey,
Go ahead.
Josh, just really quick. I know I messed up before talking to iList, but I changed the QR code on the back to go to a different place. And they recommend keeping the QR code the same, consistent on front and back of the postcard.
That's probably let me speak English now. That's their recommended best practice. And I think it's particularly relevant if you're sending it to a colder audience. But for warmer outreach like this, I wouldn't have any problem having it be two different things, as long as what they scan matches what you're saying. In other words, the front, your home value update or whatever. It could even be cash offer options because you could send them to the cash offer version of their dashboard. And then the back, PS, scan the QR code for, I don't know. I'm trying to think of another relevant call to action that would be different. As long as it matches what you're promising, I think it's fine, in particular when sending to a warmer audience like this, people that already know and trust you. Because the most important thing about this is like you're in their mailbox. That's way more important, okay? Because then here's what starts to happen. Then when you see them at the grocery store, you see them at the sporting event, whatever, they reference the card you sent, and now it creates a real estate conversation opportunity. And then you can dig. Hey, who do you know that's thinking about doing something? Or I'm actually going to be showing a property in your neighborhood this weekend. Do you know anybody else that might be thinking about selling? Or I have a listing appointment with one of your neighbors later in the week. Do you know anybody else that maybe it would make sense for me to stop by and chat with? That's the magic in this. Having the calls to action makes sense because it creates triggers for you as to know who you might want to proactively reach out to by phone or text or whatever. But like the bigger picture is it's just that you're showing up in their actual mailbox. That was a long answer to a short question.
No, thanks.
Yep. Okay, number 2, I recorded a loom a couple of weeks ago when I was at the beach with my crew, and I wasn't able to do our live mastermind. My guess is many of you didn't see it. And even if you did, maybe need a reminder. So here's the idea with number 2. It's an idea I stole from, I should start getting a little royalty check from Alex. Alex Hormozy does, he sends out an email a couple times a week, and he calls them like money in a minute or something like that. And he sent one recently that said, if you have a business, real business, you absolutely need to be running a Google pay-per-click ad for your name and or the business name. Because if someone is Googling you, A, that's a high intent person, most likely. And B, even though you should show up top organically, if some other company or business is showing up above the organic results as a pay-per-click ad, you could lose that opportunity, right? If they're doing a good job with their ads. And I took that to heart. I built it out pretty soon thereafter, I think the same week. And I'll just show you what mine looks like and what the keywords are. This one is a little more technical in nature. And I do have someone that has volunteered to be a guinea pig where we're going to hop on a Zoom. We're going to do it together. And then I will document that as a step-by-step tutorial for anyone who's interested. But this is what mine looks like. I have it set to $2 a day. I could set it to $1. The minimum is $1 a day. Now, you may be thinking, like, is anybody really Googling my name? If they do, you can control the narrative a little bit here. So why not do that? The keywords that I am showing up for are all me, okay? They're all me. So I screwed this up when I first set this up. I didn't make them phrase match, meaning like it had to be exactly the way someone key it in. And so I was showing up on some weird stuff. Like I was showing up in Google searches, some like weird brokerage searches. I don't even know how I was showing up for those. But I since cleaned it up and have it set up now that it has to be someone typing in my name. So my name, Josh Shanley, eXp Realty, Josh Shanley Realtor, Josh Shanley Coaching, Josh Shanley Years, as in Josh Shanley Years in Business or whatever. Josh Shanley Review, Josh Shanley Reviews, Josh Shanley Real Estate Agent, Josh Shanley Listing Agent, Josh Shanley Buyer's Agent, Josh Shanley Competitors, Josh Shanley Realty, Josh Shanley Scam. Maybe somebody thinks I'm a scam. I get at least 1 or 2 people a week tell me I'm a scam by text that I'm following up with. And I'm like, really? What's my scam? How does it work? Let me know.
Hey, Josh.
Yeah.
Josh. So I got a super common name. Some people will have that same situation. Adding those other words, real estate or whatever, that'll help cut it down.
So you may not want to do one that's just your name, right? Like mine very unique. Mine is very unique. So I have one where the phrase is just my name. But if you have a more common name, you probably don't want to include that one. Okay. And honestly, yeah, you particularly would not, James Brown, because who knows in your case, you would tweak that a little. But for example, Kathleen Militello, I would probably, if I were Kathleen, I would probably make that one an option, right? So
Sure.
Use a little bit of judgment there. I also have misspellings of my name because people often misspell my name. So I've got misspellings of those. Those have literally gotten, let me do the last 30 days. So there have been no impressions of people misspelling my name. And in fact, all of the impressions have come from either just my name Realtor, just my name Coaching, or just my name eXp Realty. But that's a small sample size. Over a year's time, there may be any number of other things typed in for that, okay? There was a couple of things that I wanted to add here. I can't remember. What else? If you're curious what my ad looks like, and in the document, there's a Loom video that I show more context for. But the ad is it's just me. Josh Shanley Reviews, Josh Shanley. It's just like their default way of setting up the ads, basically. And it'll even make some like AI recommendations for you. Doggone it. Where is the actual? So these are the assets of the ad, but where do I preview the ad? This platform is a little bit confusing. But it's worth figuring this out because this one truly, you want to look at it every once in a while, but this one truly, there you go. Here are some examples. This one truly is set it and forget it. Like you can build it out and maybe check on it every once in a while, but these are all the variations of what might be populated based upon what I put in. Okay. And for those of you you're getting confused or whatever, as I said, I have a guinea pig who we're going to go and build that out for her. I'll document it all, and I will share that with all of you. It's worth figuring out. Yep, that's a tutorial we should all have and do for $1 a day. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. I need a drink. Number three is, I don't remember what I put third. Here we go. Emphasis contacts that you have that are either sphere of influence, past client, or leads of some form or fashion that you've generated, you've paid for, or somehow or another you're capturing with number 4 on the list here. Maybe I should have reversed the 2, but whatever. Should either be on a search alert or property alert type of update, or a market report, or both. All of them. Let them unsubscribe. Let them notify you to take them off. Why am I so adamant about this? Same reason here. You want to make sure that these people that you already have some rapport with, that already know and trust you on some level, you're staying in regular communication with them. Same thing here. Here's what I know. No matter how much I stress that all of you should be sending out a deal of the week, which, by the way, turned into a listing for Fernando. His deal of the week email turned into a listing for Fernando that then from an open house he set 2 more appointments from. That all came from the deal of the week email. Now, it didn't come just from that, but that deal of the week email was the trigger point that created the opportunity for him that he's now leveraged into multiple additional opportunities or potential transactions, okay? But if you're following the way I recommend you do it, that requires your manual work. And let's face it, we all get busy. You go on vacation, whatever, like even me, as much as I say you got to send out a deal of the week email, I'll be honest, in the last 6 weeks, I think I've only sent it half of the weeks, okay? It's the reality of life and business. And in my opinion, there's no way to automate the deal of the week email. It won't work. But this you can automate. This part, this here, you can automate. You can set it up once and be done. Now, you have to set it up for each contact. And that might be, like right now, your head might be exploding because you're thinking, I have 1,500 contacts in my bold trail or in my follow-up boss or in my whatever. Maybe you have 3,500 and you're like, how am I ever going to do that? How do you eat an elephant? Which is a terrible. Why is that like a cliche? Who wants to eat an elephant? But the answer is 1 bite at a time. Again, I have no interest in eating an elephant, but here's my point. If you have none of them on these, you start somewhere. You just get started. And you commit to 5 a day, 10 a day, 15 a day, whatever. And when you're done, but you're never done because you should be growing your database every day, every week, every month. So you're going to, as the database grows, you're going to put more of those people on one or both of those. Now, what that looks like for me in Bold Trail is, and you just have to, so once again, if you don't have Bold Trail, or you don't have this or that or the other thing, instead of figuring out why you can't do it or why it won't work for you, figure out how you can. All of you, I think, I can't guarantee that but if you're a licensed real estate agent and you're with a local association, most of you, if not all of you, have access to your MLS. And you can do something like this directly in your MLS. Worst case scenario, you can do it in there. If you've got Bold Trail or something similar, you can set them up on search alerts and or market reports. Here's what I do. For most, I do both. Most, not all. But here's how I figure that out. For example, I got a listing last week. Expired listing. We were coming soon last week. We went live yesterday morning. I used I need a better name for it, but I used to call it organic onslaught. So I used a process whereby I share the listing on my Facebook page, or I post the listing to my Facebook page, and then I share that into groups to generate free leads. Okay? And I did that yesterday, and I generated, I don't remember, call it 6 free leads yesterday. Okay? Literally, all I did was from listings to leads, I shared the listing to my business page, and then from my phone, I went and shared the listing from my page into the local groups that were relevant to that listing. In other words, I've got different pocket areas in my market. I've got Cumberland County, Mechanicsburg, Carlisle, Enola. I've got Dauphin County, like Harrisburg, High Spire, Hummelstown, Hershey. I don't know why they're all H's, but whatever. So I shared them to those, the groups that I thought would be most relevant for those folks. And then there's also like Central PA real estate groups or Central PA real estate listing groups. Anyway, I shared them into those and I generated, call it 6 free leads. Every one of those leads, everyone is getting a market report and a search alert. Which of those they get depends a little bit. Here's what I mean. If they're currently renting, which I figure out manually as best I can, then the market report is for the city or the zip code for the listing. So this one was in High Spire, Pennsylvania. So they get a market report for High Spire, Pennsylvania, and it's every 28 days. So they get it once a month. They also get a search alert of similar properties to that listing. If they own a property already, if I've determined that they own a property, the market report is for the zip code or the city of the property they own, but I'm still going to put them on a search alert for similar properties because there was some reason they were looking at those properties. Maybe they're thinking about investing. I mean, whatever. They're just curious. I don't care, but they're getting both of those. Here's an example of when they're just getting a market report. If I have no idea what their search criteria are, meaning I get a lead that requests a home valuation, I've not had a conversation, I don't know what they're thinking, I don't know if they're thinking about relocating or downsizing, whatever. I have no idea what type of properties they may be looking for. I will set them up on a market report. Now, I can make the case that I probably should also set them up on a search alert for properties similar to theirs, like in the same city that are same, because we all like looking at neighbor properties. But for now anyway, I'm just setting up on a market report. Okay. So that's what it looks like for me. Figure out for you how you can do that. I'm going to share this Google Doc one more time because, again, for those of you that weren't here right at the beginning or whatever, for some reason, some of you can't see the Google Doc. So I'm sharing that again there. Any questions on that, on number 3, before I go on to 4 and 5? Going once, going twice. Okay. Number 4, I'm double tapping on last week's Mastermind. If you missed last week, you can check out the replay in the school community. So it is in the school community, which is in the document, and it's under classroom and then Wednesday Mastermind replays. And the date was 7/30/25. You can go and sign up right here. It is pay as you go. There's no other costs whatsoever. You get a script that you can put on your website. You validate the website, which literally is you install the script and you hit refresh on the website and it'll show when it's validated. And it will literally start turning visitors into leads. And last week, when I had Joe on, I had it installed for 24 hours or something like that, right around 24 hours. I've now had it for 8 days, exactly. And it has generated for me now, where are my leads? Yes, it would be lead search and website visit. Is that right? Or it hasn't generated, it's captured 15 for me in a week, which is not a ton. It's 2 a day. But here's some things to consider with that. I don't have any other ads running other than that Google pay-per-click ad that I showed you, and that ad got 3 clicks the last week, okay? And the reason that is for me was on vacation and really busy. And before I was going on vacation, I was already really busy with business and people that I needed to follow up with and listings that I had to get live, etc. So I paused most of what I had running paid advertising wise, because what I hate, it happens regardless anyway, but I don't want to feel like I'm missing. I'm on vacation and then I'm constantly like, I'm missing these, whatever. So I just paused, reset, whatever. Point is, all of that is coming just from what people are just finding my website. And also, 2 a day times 365 is 700. That means a month from now, or a year from now, I'll have 700 more contacts in my database than I did today. I'll take it. What class was this in? This was last week, Andrea, or Andrea, I'm not sure which pronunciation, but this was last week on this mastermind. And because of the nature of that, I couldn't put that directly on YouTube. So I put it in this school community that is free for anyone. And it's in the classroom area Wednesday. So if you go to classroom, Wednesday Mastermind replays, and then scroll down to the bottom. The link is in the document right here. I should have been more clear. Replay of Mastermind session in free school community. That should take you right to that if you're curious and want even more details. Now, hold on. I'm going to stop my share for 1 second because I want to show something pretty cool that I'm excited about with this little add-on. So bear with me. I wanted to get to a point where I wasn't showing sensitive data. So just this morning, oh, it's not validated yet. I have to do the work to finish the validation of this domain. So this domain, I use and love listings to leads. For me, I just generate a ton of free leads and opportunities with their platform. My favorite, there's lots of great tools, or it's got lots of cool benefits and widgets, etc. But the thing that's most valuable for me is their listing lead capture pages. Okay. And in particular for me, I mentioned yesterday I generated 6 free leads for a new listing. Now, normally what I've found is that strategy works better later in the week. Thursday, Friday, I generate way more leads from earlier in the week, but they're very motivated. They want to get writing offers, so we needed to get their property on the market ASAP, so I shared it. My point is, if I had shared that on Thursday, and I'm going to reshare it on Thursday, but if I had done that on Thursday, I probably would have generated more leads. Regardless. 6 of them already. That script I now have installed, and I just have to do the validation part of it on those. So now I'm immediately going to start capturing even more leads for free when I do that organic strategy, okay? So I'm pretty excited about that piece of thanks, James, for sharing that with Andrew. Any questions on that before the last one, and then we'll open it up for just general Q&A, points of clarification, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, last one.
Just
Go ahead.
on the leads you're getting on iList, how are you reaching out to them?
Yeah, very simple. I am literally, now, this is so new that I think there's, myself included, are trying to figure out best practice. They have a beta user who's been getting these leads for 30 or 60 days, and she's literally picking up the phone and calling. What I've been doing thus far is this. I'll send an email, and if their cell phone is not marked DNC, I will send a text as well. Repeat, if it's on the DNC, I'm not reaching out to them. But if it's not, and I'm sending, it's the same script in either one. Hey, James, looks like you were checking out our website, and I'll even put like the website URL. Not like the full HTTPS, blah, 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 but looks like you were checking out our website, 717offers.com. I'll put that in parentheses. Is that right? Question mark. That's it. Looks like you were checking out the site. Is that right? But here's what what I will use is the information that comes with it to then disposition the lead further. In other words, in the lead record, and I'm not going to show one because, again, I don't want to have to blur that out or whatever, but it will tell you what URL they landed on. So you can see, were they looking at a specific listing? Were they whatever? And you can use that information to set up a search alert or set up a market report, or you can use that intel to follow up with them in a way that's more relevant and congruent to what brought them into the sphere, your sphere of influence. And if they're a local homeowner, I'm sending them direct mail as well. I have a campaign that I have it's just like a catch-all campaign that I send to, I built the campaign and the mailing list around buyer leads that come in, particularly through my free organic strategy, buyer leads that come in that I am able to identify own a home. That was the point of the bucket that I'm putting those in, but I want them to get something physical from me so I can make that impression besides just in a digital environment. All right, last one on the list, retargeting all of your contacts, all of the contacts in your database on Facebook and Instagram. This one, I put this one at the end because it's the least set it and forget it way, meaning I don't think you can it's not like this branded Google pay-per-click ad, which is intent or search-based, meaning if James searches my name today, James isn't seeing my ad every day then. He proactively looked me up and saw an ad from me, okay? But when you're retargeting people on Facebook and Instagram, it's interruption style. And if you just put the same thing in front of them forever, eventually they get blind to it. Okay. So you do have to update, copy the assets that you're putting, what you're putting in front of them, but it can be set up in a way where the audience automatically updates as your database grows. So that part of it can be set up in a set it and forget it fashion. And then it might be simply that once a month, I would say once a month is ideal. You might get away with once a quarter. You freshen it up. Now, this one, I will say very transparently, I'm not doing a good job of this currently, but here is the last ad that I ran along these lines, or according to this fashion. I had it up here. Oh, it got refreshed here. Hold on. Let me make it a little bit bigger for everybody. So this is a sale. This is a property that I sold recently in my neighborhood, and I just used Canva and I overlaid the Google review from the clients, and it's just a very direct. And that's just a reach ad on Facebook and Instagram, which is designed to just maximize the number of people that see it. And I was running it to my retargeting list, which is anybody in my database and also anyone who had interacted with my page in the last, I forget what the max is, but 180 or 365 days, something like that. There you have it. Those are the 5. Questions, comments, thoughts, ideas. Poke holes in it. What do you do that's working as far as that goes? What other set it and forget it strategies or things that you may be implementing that would make sense to share with others as well?
Hey, can you drop in instructions on the retargeting to the Facebook and Instagram?
I could if I had it.
Okay.
I'll have to do an update of that. I'm trying to think of the best. I hate creating content like that because Facebook changes the dang stuff, and I can show it in my dashboard, and you go there, and your dashboard looks different for some silly reason.
Maybe just look it up.
Think that through, Fernando. I think I have training on it, but my guess is it might be a little bit dated.
There's probably something out there now. I can go YouTube. And
I think you could probably find something on YouTube, but I will commit to putting something together on that. Ideally, I need a guinea pig because it's already all set up for me. And I just want to say very transparently, like, I'm not committing to keep it exactly as it should look because they're always changing it. Yeah, see, let me see here. What I have is old. I will drop in some step-by-step instructions, but just understand that the phrasing of the button might be slightly different. There may be some things that have changed, but a lot of the resources in there still should be pretty relevant.
Cool.
And I'll figure out a way to get a more current version of that tutorial as well. Tyrone.
Which one was the 30-day free trial and $77 a month? Which one was that one? I missed that.
So that is I'll bring it up on my screen here. That is iList, and there's a ton of cool things that you can do with the platform. I've got templates and strategies, etc.s, plural, apparently. But free 30-day trial, $77 a month. You can go to growwithjosh.com/iList. I'll also put the direct, that's just a forwarding link. I'll put the direct link. So I use that as a way to, I didn't put this on here because it's not a set it and forget it method, but every month I send everybody in my database that I have their primary address, their property address. I send them an email that drives them to check out their home value dashboard, which has 4 different unique estimates of value for their property and has cash offer options that they can review. I then, from everybody that hits that dashboard, I then send them a follow-up email that says, hey, I saw you were looking at your home values. What has you interested? And I have a couple of different variations on that. That strategy alone has turned into, I think now, this calendar year, 3 listings. That's not like overwhelming, but it's, I don't know, it's like 30,000 in GCI. I'll take it. It's better than a poke in the eye.
First of all, iList is the best product I've ever purchased in real estate. But
And Kathleen, Kathleen is a very experienced agent. I'll just say it that way. She's
and extremely frugal where I spend my
yes,
dollars.
that too.
I have a random question. Is there any way to take the listing to replicate or take the listing from the platform on listings to leads and put it on a website? Do they have the HTML or anything where you can just put it on your website?
I don't know why. I'm trying to understand the use case or what you're trying to accomplish. It
Well,
is
if
its
I-
own. It is its own site.
Yeah, it's a single property listing page, and I wanted to have it on my own website too.
For what reason? I'm just trying to understand. The more I can understand what you're trying to accomplish, maybe I can provide an alternative answer or solution.
I just thought it would be nice to have it there.
But you can in Bold Trail. Let me
Well,
bring up my Bold Trail.
I actually have Go High Level, and I have my whole website's on Go High Level.
I'll have to get back to you on that.
Okay.
What I was going to say in Bold Trail, and you can probably do the same thing in Go High Level, is you can direct link to other sites, but directly from the site. So in other words, if I were going to do that on Bold Trail, I can build out, and I think I have a couple of examples here, but under other, I thought I did. You can direct link to sites from this, and I would assume you can from Go High Level as well. I've never looked into whether or not you can take the source code or if they have an embed widget in listings to leads, but I can certainly check that out. I don't know off the top of my head.
What does she want to put a link to?
She wants to link from her main website to the lead capture landing page for listings to leads.
I would say that in Go High Level, because it's just a link, right? So yeah, you could definitely create a button that take them to that specific property or that specific link in listing to leads. Yeah, I would have.
Yeah. I guess my point was like, I don't know why you would do that unless you were driving traffic to it. And if you're driving traffic to it, I would send them right to the lead capture landing page because that's going to work best. Like, I guess I could understand a page on Go High Level that just has your listings and then it links out to each of them, but I just don't see that getting much traffic.
Okay. I guess I didn't think it through.
Now,
all the way.
actually, okay, so here's a way that it might make sense. And I'll tie this into a topic that was on our Monday. We're in week 4 of the 5 weeks to 5 listings challenge. And I talked about this a little on Monday, which is having a QR code. We talked about QR codes at your listings, meaning like in the yard, and having a QR code as an easy way for someone that was walking by or driving by to engage with you. And the strategy I landed on is I'm going to have different QR codes where I have a URL shortener that I can change out where the QR code lands, right? Because I don't want them to be disposable signs. In other words, I don't want to make a sign that's specific for the house that I then just trashed. It just seems to me just wasteful, but whatever. The other thing I was thinking through is all of the QR codes could be the same, and it lands them on a page that just has all of your active listings.
Yep.
And so whether that is like a traditional page or you made a page that looked more, am I sharing my screen? No, more like this, but it was just your listings. That might be a use case where I could see having some relevance, because then people can be clicking through and they're self-selecting. Now, you want it to be evident. You want there to be something on there that makes it clear to them which listing that they can find the listing that they scanned. In other words, like I have, just by happenstance and referrals, like I have listings all over Central PA right now. So it would just be like, I wouldn't want people to be confused and just get annoyed. This guy's making it hard for me to get the info on this property kind of thing. So there's a fine line for how you might best do it. People are on the phone while we're doing this, which I love because that means people are doing business. I see people calling and texting, and that may be also a signal that we should come in for a landing. Any other questions, comments, thoughts, etc.? Don't try and do all 5 of these things today because that's a surefire way to do none of them. Pick one on the list and knock it out. Or here's what you do. Take that list and prioritize for yourself which of the items on the list to you is the lowest hanging fruit and the one that you want to knock out first, and then categorize them after that, because it might be like for you, number 4 might be top priority and number 3 is the next. The right answer is the right answer for you. but don't try and do all 5. Prioritize which you're going to do, and then don't move on to the next one until you actually get the one that you're working on done completely. The bridge completely from point A to point B. Celeste.
I was just curious, do you use Zapier in your business?
I would assume that they would consider me a power user on some level. Yes. So I do, is the short answer.
Could you go over that one of these sessions?
Of course. Yeah, that's actually really a great idea.
Thank you. I'm a newbie.
Yeah. So I'll give you one, for example, that ties into today's session. If you're using Go High Level and not Bold Trail, you wouldn't need Zapier to do this. But the example, the use case I'm going to give is this. Let me bring up my screen again. I have a Zap set up so that anyone that scans the QR code on any direct mail that I send, Fernando, time for another cup of coffee, buddy. Just kidding. Anyone that scans a QR code on any of the direct mail that I send out, I have a Zap set up that tells Bold Trail, this person just scanned a QR code on a direct mail piece. Send this smart campaign. So they scan it. Now I also get email and texted because, and that has nothing to do with Zapier. I don't know. I think it's Zapier, but whatever. I also get an email and a text notification that comes directly from Thanks. We're all busy, right? So I want something to happen regardless of if I'm in an appointment or whatever. So they scan that. Zapier tells Bold Trail, this person just scanned the QR code, and I have a smart campaign that goes out. It's literally just an email and a text message, and it's just asking them what has them checking out. Most of what I'm sending is driving them to their seller dashboard on iList. So that my questioning is, what has you, it's around, why are you curious about the values, or what has you curious enough to scan the QR code, something like that. Obviously, if I don't have a phone number or a good cell number for them or whatever, it doesn't send that. But for pretty much everybody that scans, I have an email for, so they're at least going to get the email. And also, I will personally follow up with those folks too. And what that looks like depends on who it is and what info I have or know. In other words, if it's cold, I treat it differently than if it's somebody who's in my SO. It's just a different intent or different context, let's say. Other questions, comments? That was a great question and a great recommendation.
I've got one.
Yep.
So on the thanks.io, on the page itself, you've got the link to upload or go to Thanks, and then you've got the templates. I'm going to commit to doing this because I got 3 listings that I want to blanket here and just circle prospect with something. There are instructions anywhere on the document itself.
For what use case?
Just to circle prospects and list. I've got 3 listings that I'm gonna circle prospect. I've already got a list that I want to upload to thanks.io with property owners, addresses, emails, and phone numbers. So I wanted to upload them to Thanks and then reach out to them.
I have a ton of best practices, tutorials, etc.
Yep.
For you, and I would make this recommendation for anyone. I would hop on. They have, what do they call it? Mailroom, which is, I think it's noon to 3 every day. There was someone on the Thanks team manning a Zoom that you can log in and say exactly what you said.
Got it.
Hey, Josh told me to come in here. I want to do this and this. Please help.
Got it.
And they
Okay.
will, that's probably the easiest answer. I could show you how to do it yourself, this, that, and the other thing, but
Directly to them.
yeah, just go right to the source, and you'll take something that it might take you a couple of hours if you're doing yourself, and they may be able to knock it out in 30 to 45 minutes. For example, you already have your list, but if you don't have a list and you just listed a property or you just sold a property and you want to blast that out, they have a super easy button for that. You literally put in your listing and say, I want to hit it 100 closest neighbors, bang, and it can be done real quick. But if it doesn't like fit in one of their, like that perfect box, just hop in mailroom and you already have your list, your data, and they can knock that out. Also, if you want to, Fernando or other, like that goes for number 1 on the list too. I'll help you if you want, or you can just hop into their mailroom. You build your mailing list, hop into mailroom and just say, hey, Josh said I should come in here. I want to get this set up, and they'll hook you up.
Cool. Thank you, sir.
Anybody else? Going once, going twice. We might be talking Zapier next week. Or maybe I'll try and figure out maybe a way to make it not specific to Zapier, but some like simple tech tools to make your life easier and better or something like that. I don't know, something along those lines. That's a great recommendation, Celeste. I'll get this edited, cleaned up. I'll remove all the ums and uhs because I'm shocked how many times I say that in an hour on these sessions. Clean it up and all of that. This one should be good to go and available on the Josh Shanley coaching page. However, if you can't ever find something on there the Josh Shanley coaching YouTube channel, but if you can't ever find something on there, this is a free school community, and I put them all in here too, and they're organized maybe in a little bit better fashion. And I do my best to include the resources that I referenced right here with it. So it's just, I don't know, sometimes I go on YouTube and I'm like, I just feel like it's very noisy and whatever. This is a little cleaner, easier to navigate if you just want to dig into some of these replays and check those out. But regardless, I'll get that up on the Josh Shanley coaching YouTube channel. And for some reason you can't find any of the recommended resources or links referenced, just drop a comment, shoot me a DM, call or text me. I'm pretty easy to find on the interwebs. Here's what, please don't do this though. Please don't Google my name and then click on the ad because I pay for that, right? If you're going to Google my name, go to some of the organic search results and connect there. All right. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate all the questions, interaction, etc. And I look forward to seeing you all, hopefully, next week.